I wonder if Verhuver's ready or if he had to go pee or something. Oh no, he's ready. Man, I fucking love this game. Alright. Just let me clear me lungs of all the bong soot. So, we have Mountain Crossing, Spaniard, and Verhuver versus the latest two entrants to the UR clan. So this should be one hell of a game. And spawning on the left side, we have Verhuver as the Greek player. He's actually player 2, sorry. Spaniard as the Celt player. And spawning on the right side, we have Vindicator and Casper, representing Ultimate Raiders. So these guys are actually the latest entrants to the clan. And Vindicator's actually had a big run in the recent tournament, getting a semi-finalist place. Spaniard was actually involved in casting. Casper has actually recently become involved in the competitive play in the game and actually involved in the casting. And Verhuver is actually a returning player from the older era and I think has played a couple of other RTS and is a really, really strong player. So this should be one hell of a game in store for you guys. So got a early hunt for Casper, early dock for Vindicator, skipping the hunt at this stage but looking at taking it, early hunt and barracks for Spaniard, so fairly sort of standard play I think for a Celt player. Early hunt for Verhuver, so Verhuver and Casper are playing around their hunts, so to speak. Casper's actually opting for a dock, which he can squeeze out a little bit earlier than Verhuver can squeeze out a dock or barracks of his own. Well, I mean, he can squeeze out the dock, but he can't necessarily afford to get the fishing ship straight away, unless he drops the food. So I think he's actually opting for well, he might actually opt for the barracks. He's going to have a lot of food in the bank, possibly. So, some spearmen already coming out for the Celt player, the Spaniard. Waterline being scattered out the top side for Verhuver. Meanwhile, over at the bottom side, Vindicator is unfortunately scattered the wrong side of the map. Well, it might be the right side of the map considering he's got an easy hunt and gold to sort of defend here. So, got the double dock from the right side team from Team UR. And on the left side of the map, we've got the early spears coming out for Spaniard. Verhuver just going for the, I think just the greedier General Age 1 play. I mean, General Straight to Age 2 play. Oh no, Verhuver actually taking the topside dock, but it's been scouted by Casper, so Verhuver again wants to try and secure the middle water, wants to try and get that advantage like he did in the earlier 2v2, which was pretty instrumental to, I think, did they win that game? I think they won that game, so yeah, it seems to be a tactic from Verhuver to try and dominate on the water by taking the middle water instead of taking his own water. And actually following it up by being able to defend pretty heftily in H2, so he can get a lot of spears out. I mean, a lot of well, hypers or spears get out the Toxotes, really be able to try and defend that, and then take the water behind this. So this should be really interesting to see how this pans out for him, because the only other person with aggressive units on the field is his teammate, the Spaniard, right now. Because looks like Vindicator playing quite greedily on the dock, and so is Casper. There's no barracks for either of them yet, but it looks like Vindicator's going to get scouted in his attempt to actually have a challenger dock. So Verhuver is going to get the advantage of having the quicker trireme, so it looks to be really smart play from Verhuver in forcing this out of his opponent and then punishing him anyway for it. So the Team UR is sort of restricted to the water on their own side of the map as Spearmen for Spaniard come out, because there's not really any fighting force yet because Casper's just opted for a general H2 build, so right now all the aggression favours the other side of the map, so a galley is going to come out to face the trireme, but I think the trireme does actually beat them. It's a 3-pop ship versus a 2-pop ship, so the galleys are, oh no, they are a 3-pop ship, sorry. But they're 25 resources cheaper and a little bit weaker in the straight up fight, I think. So Spaniard looking at moving in as Vindicator and Verhuver take a nice battle on the water. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the control advantage here. Let's make it a little bit less aggy. Both players just dancing, trying to get the advantage, but the galley is going to fall a little bit quicker. It's really only got 1 hit left in it. Oh, but he does land a nice hit actually. Verhuver really being punished now, losing his ship first, so Vindicating and doing a wonderful job at microing his ships now. So Verhuver really only on even footing despite having the stronger ship at the moment. 1 hit ahead now, but both players sort of scrambling to try and micro because Spaniard is actually doing damage to Vindicator in the meanwhile. He's actually sniped a hunt and is going to try and snipe the rear dock. So Casper in the meanwhile is actually taking a second town center. And Spaniard is doing a lot of damage to Vindicator here because there's no aggressive units out in the field for Vindicator, so Vindicator's really being punished while Casper isn't really backing up at all yet. He's getting an archery range out now, but it's going to be a little bit slow. And right now, Verhuver really punishing Vindicator on the land, on the water, because on the land he's losing a lot of his economy and losing a house as well. So Verhuver really punishing him on the top side. On the bottom side, his dock is being taken out. So Casper is actually surging ahead in score, but it's at a huge cost to Vindicator. So Casper, well, Team UR really being punished here because of Casper not having really any answer to all the aggression from both players on the other team on Vindicator. In the meanwhile, Spaniard getting his second town center, Verhuver getting his second town center, so they're actually up a town center now, and they've actually got the second, well, they've got control of both waters, so right now they're in a really, really healthy spot. And Vindicator again being punished, trying to take the wood in the more obvious sort of position, but these workers are going to get caught out now, so that's 3 workers of his that are also going to fall, so that's a huge loss to him. So Casper is really going to have to try and carry for the next couple of minutes, and if he can't, it might be all over for Team UR already. Really, really smart here from Verhuver, pumping out the second dock even, just to make sure he can control this no matter what. Vindicator forced to have to take a really, really defensive stack town center here, while the right side of the map, Hoover's got his at the backside just in case, but Spaniard has actually got a really nice forward town center here, right on there to defend that gold mine. There. So Vindicator now actually able to take his storehouse again, but in the meantime Spaniard's taking the rear side dock, and I think Verhuver might look at either doing the same or just taking to H3 soon. So Casper is going to have to mount some H2 pressure here at some point in order to make up for the greedy play. He's got a nice count of archers, and it's going to be a good force against these long swordsmen, but he needs to get some other stuff out in the field. And there's 4 spearmen up, actually coming up the backside to destroy a storehouse of Vindicators, who's actually got the A10, which is always nice to see, but these spearmen are really going to get picked off by Casper here, so Spaniard's initial force really being chipped away at now, so really only the storehouse being denied here over on the back side of the wood line, so Verhuver in the meantime taking his rear side dock, and Casper again, now he's sort of just playing defensively, which in this situation really isn't optimal because the left side team have just got so much map presence, and I think Verhuver's even wondering if he can go for a proxy dock in this position. Verhuver's just really smart on this map. I think he's just faced a lot of different builds on this map, played out a lot of different builds on styles on this map, and he's just really learnt a lot of ways to tear people up on it too. I remember I've actually lost games to him on this map after having a big lead with a proxy dock myself on it, so I wouldn't be surprised if he actually tries to go for the same play himself. But oh, it looks like Vindicator's actually distance mining here, so oh no, here we go, he's gonna rally these guys back for something. Get some Asabara of his now out on the map. It looks like there's a big force here for the Spaniard being mounted up, so Vindicator taking a quick H3 to try and boom up as quickly as he can to play catch up. Casper throwing down a whole bunch of gardens too. Team you are sort of trying to play catch up right now. Verhuver in a really nice spot economically, expanding onto a whole bunch of new structures here for his production, getting the academy out so he's just can parade push straight across the map. He's going to have so much food in the bank soon. He's already got a little bit of food in the bank soon, but just with that double water, he's really going to be stripping the map. So right now on the bottom side, Spaniard's actually looking at creeping across the map as well, so looks like Team UR really being hemmed into the corner right now. And Vindicator actually having to get back on the water again, taking the town centre there just to make sure he can defend the water and that they're going to be safe on it, because that would really be the nail in the coffin, because if the left side team can get a dock down here, it's going to be pretty much over for them, considering that they've got so much map presence against them already. Looks like Verhuver is just sort of scanning out, figuring out what his opponents are doing. And Verhuver getting his age 3 now, throwing down his town centre a little bit further away, and it's going to protect his market, so he's probably going to just run it down to Spaniard's TC, and then Spaniard might even opt for a TC and a market down here, and they can do the same thing. So right now, a couple of lances of Casper's coming in, looking to deal a little bit of damage. So he might be able to pick a villager here, but I think they're going to be safe in this little maze that is Verhuver's base. Some walls being thrown out here from Vindicator. Walls being thrown out from Verhuver, so it's quite easy to actually sort of defend at this stage of the game now. Everyone's sort of got enough stone in the bank to really be able to throw down a couple of layers of walls and really deny cavalry and force players to have to use siege on the flanks, which is a bit annoying then, because then you've got to cart them elsewhere around the map to actually deal some damage. There's a big force here for the Spaniard, and Verhuver just slowly getting his now, getting a couple more production facilities to be able to get a real nice raid push a little bit later on. Team UR in the meanwhile, Casper amassing his force, and Vindicator at this stage only has a little bit of force, only has a couple of cavalry, and is actually down here on, I missed this on the bottom side, he's got a nice pure cavalry force at the moment. Actually he's sniping watchtowers. He's going to try and go in for the kill on a couple of workers here, actually on 2 of these hunts here on the bottom side, so he might be able to really shut this down and shut down Spaniards booming here on the south side, picking off basically 2 villages here if he catches them. And he's going to throw down the siege workshop immediately. He wants to really start applying pressure on this side of the map. And he knows that they're probably going to get pushed into, so he has to be fast here. He has to deal as much damage as possible and get back out. Spaniard actually saving the villagers there. Good idea. But Vindicator actually opting to try and see what else is here. Pinch the storehouse and back off. I don't know if he realizes that Spaniard's actually marching right towards his base right now. And Verhuver, he's sort of massed up in the middle, just anticipating, waiting to see what Casper does. So Casper is just sort of rallied at his base, still just massing up the last couple of forces before he can start looking at pushing out. And probably just do a big flood of bearers, I think, at this stage would probably be a good idea, because there's a big count of slingers and long swordsmen here, so he's going to need something to really deal with that. And Vindicator is really forced up to try and run back. He's caught up economically to everyone a little bit, but it won't be for long if he doesn't get here in time. So right now Verhuver moving out to try and catch Vindicator as well, so this is really nice to try and see. So all the prods are going to catch all the mounted archers. Really well timed here from Verhuver, actually. Coming in just in time, and he's going to be able to try and back him up against Caspar's force here. So Verhuver's doing a wonderful job of backing Spaniard's initiation here. So this is a really nice play from the left side team. The right side team having to scramble with everything they've got. The UR boys just really need to do everything they can to hold on right now. So Spaniard sort of buckled up in behind Verhuver's front line now. So this mass of the slingers is going to be able to put in a lot of work now, but they are quite safe. And Caspar's actually forced to have to really back off behind Vindicator's buildings here, but he's lost a lot of his forces already, and Vindicator is really having to try and throw down panic towers in his base right now. And Caspar is sending down everything he's got to try and help out Vindicator too. There's just no real attempt at harass from these guys at the moment, except on the south side there's a single ram actually for Vindicator chipping through the walls of the Spaniards. So it'd be interesting to see if he manages to pick the market up in time. So there's a huge force here for the Spaniard and Verhuver just pushing in right now, but it seems to slowly be being thinned away because Caspar's transitioned onto the mounted archers as well. So both the Babylonian and the Persian mounted archers are on the field here to pick on all of the cavalry in range of their opponents. So a bit of a later game tech, a bit of a more expensive unit, but they are a really good unit to have. And oh, Vindicator unfortunately has been denied by the Spaniard in his attempt at trying to snipe that market. So meanwhile over here on the top side it looks like Caspar's actually scouted to try and push for something. I think he might rally some units over there in a second. So it looks like Verhuver's actually backing off for some reason, and the Spaniard sort of still committing. I think he's sort of just relying on these guys to deal a little bit more damage, applying a bit more pressure, and Verhuver to come in at a better angle. Both of them can send some more units in and really push into here. So I wonder, Caspar actually scouted up over there, so I wonder if he's going to go for a raid or something. So a lot of villages of Vindicators really being forced forward right now. So I wonder if they're just really like a bit of a diversionary force just to relieve some pressure, or if he is just trying to take a resource and is unfortunately paid the wrong way. So those villages are going to get chipped away at. Lost a couple of those. The rest of them are actually going to make it through. So Vindicator again going to try, maybe try to throw down a fortress or something down there on the bottom side of the map. But the Spaniard's actually taking all the golds with his gold mines, really going to slow down any attempt at UR at gathering on the bottom side of the map right now, as Vindicator is being pushed into by the rams of Verhuver, and he's still got a big force here. A couple of bowmen of Caspar's are going to get picked off in the meanwhile, but a lot of them are coming in from this north side, and Verhuver's going to have to try and reposition as well to try and get a little bit closer, snipe a lot of those bows, because there's not really a lot of a front line for them at the moment. So both the UR boys are really relying on range pressure and being able to kite and weave here but Caspars are a little bit too overextended right now, and they're going to get chipped away at, slowly hemmed down. Yep, they're all, just falling right now, and on the bottom side of the map, again, there's some more words here to deal with the siege coming out, so really nice play that both of the gold mines on the bottom side of the map have been taken. There's just one left to take as well, and I wonder if Spaniard will go for that one too, because that'll really stuff up Vindicator and Caspar's attempt at trying to expand outward now. And right now, Verhuver really pushing in, pushing up a little bit more towards applying the pressure on Caspar, because he knows he's sort of got Vindicator backed into the corner now. And the Spaniard amassing his forces to go in soon, back up his teammate right now, so a bunch of forward fortresses with a couple of forward storehouses, so this is a bit of good team play here. If this manages to go down, that is, so the team UR do need to act fast to get this enacted, but they might have the units to hold for now, because more of them are on the way. There's rams incoming. They desperately need to get a good storehouse field, get a couple of fortresses and towers up, because with the units they're producing, they're just not trading evenly, so they need to make better use of that static defense and better use of protecting it, so. Oh, so the sappers have actually finally cleared the gold mine. There's actually a couple of proxy barracks here for Caspar. A little bit slow on them, but I wonder where these guys are marching to. Right now, Caspar's actually pushing up forward and forcing out Vindicator. Forcing out Verhuver and the Spaniard. Vindicator at the moment is actually trying to push towards the southern side with his cavalry. And whereabouts? Oh, so the sappers are going to try and pick off the other gold mine here. So this is really smart from Caspar in the meanwhile, while he's trying to push up as aggressively as he can in the mid-map to also give Vindicator the space to really breathe, snipe the bottom side, watchtowers so that they can try and get some more play out, try and slow down the gold gathering of the Spaniard, and really stop him from stripping the map bare. And the sappers are really causing havoc now. The workers have been pulled away, but it's sort of good for Verhuver in a sense, because the sappers are going to chase and get killed by the range, and Caspar is sort of really just providing a nice big front line for Vindicator to try and find an opening here, because Verhuver and the Spaniard just have so much cavalry in front of, so much range in front of me. There's just, this cavalry is going to have to target so well along with the bows of Caspar, and they're doing all they can to hold on. There's some more sappers trying to chip away at the walls on the bottom side of the map. It actually looks like Caspar's going for an engage, so the Spaniard's going for an engage with his woads across the map. He's going to try and snipe the watchtower and then try and take on the wall, I think, and then cut through Vindicator from another angle. So Caspar again, desperately with the Royal Guard, moment composition, trying to keep his opponents away from his teammates' base. Vindicator also microing his cavalry in and out off the A10 field, which is really, right now Vindicator just has this huge wall of A10s to try and keep everything alive. And Caspar's forces slowly being thinned down, while Spaniard and Verhuver, they're just about maxed out again. Vindicator and Caspar only on about 140 population each, so the UR boys at about an 80 population difference between the pair of them. These sappers are going to get found out. Yeah, so the proxy barracks for Caspar are going to get found out. Unfortunate for him. He's nearly chipped through this wall, but other than slowing down on those two gold mines, he hasn't gotten a great deal out of that now. Although and the gold economy for these guys on the left side is just wonderful. It's just booming at the moment. They aren't even on those two golds. They've got the golds on the southern side. I think Verhuver's got the majority of the golds in the mid-map. He's even taken this forward gold just outside of the base of the UR team. So the UR guys are going to have to scramble to defend on the bottom side here. There's wall falling down the tower. He's going to fall too. There's a good count of all the Asabara mounted archers here from Vindicator to defend, but in the meanwhile, at least Caspar really exposed here, trying to defend both of them here in front of the A10 line. So these forces for the left side are going to fall, but not before getting a little bit of economic damage on Vindicator, really slowing down his gold income. Vindicator down to only about 1,000 gold. Caspar on about the same. Spaniard and Verhuver, yeah, they've got about a 3,000 gold advantage at the moment, and the longer this game goes on, the worse it's going to get, because it's going to be a lot easier for them to take the topside goal right now, I think. So They're pushing right in onto Vindicator's base, Spaniard is, so Verhuver as well, massing up some forces to push elsewhere behind this. And oh wow, this is a really nice position, really nice flank here from Vindicator surrounding all the range for the Spaniard, and it seems to drop like flies, along with the range of Caspar as well. Not necessarily the range with the good multipliers, but he's also got a nice couple of arrows mixed in, so he's going to do a little bit of damage to that, and it really just runs through the army of the Spaniard there, who sort of has to back off a little bit. Meanwhile, Vindicator's going to try and raid one of these gold mines because he knows his opponent's going to try and suck those gold mines dry. There's a lot of units been coming in from now from the Spaniard, but they're just going to fall. I think they're going to get a couple of kills of Vindicators, but there's a big force of Caspars here ready to defend as well. But in the meantime, oh, Verhuver's actually snuck in a whole bunch of rams and has sniped the production of Caspar, and he's got his army in a really nice position. Caspar also scrambling to try and defend right now, and this is going to leave Vindicator open again. And meanwhile, Vindicator doing what he can to try and snipe the gold mines. But again, that's a 2,000 health building. It takes quite a bit of health to get through, so the Rams putting in the work and they start chipping away at the gardens now for Caspar. So huge force for Verhuver inside of his base right now. Meanwhile, Vindicator's still dealing the damage, and the Spaniard still just massing up his forces, I think. Back at home, still just macroing some stuff. And Verhuver is just truly stripping away at Caspar's base. There's not much left. The town centre is completely exposed. A couple of defensive towers being thrown up by Vindicator, and the fortress is getting in range of things, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Caspar's initial town centre is probably going to fall here unless the cavalry of Vindicator can come in and really help clean up here. Caspar's own forces are really light on at the moment, so there's just not much for him at the moment. There's just double ram production coming in. Oh no, single ram production is just holding up. Oh yeah, it can be double. Yeah, double ram production right now, and all these siege, they're just going to be able to destroy this initial town centre. Vindicator a little bit slow on these panic towers, and he's got a good cavalry number here though. He's going to clean up most of Verhuver's forces pretty quickly here. So Verhuver's, but not without sniping of the last couple of buildings of Caspar, which every little bit helps. It's going to really slow Caspar down right now. Defensive towers are going to finish off a little bit late. Another couple being thrown up in front of Vindicator's base to actually try and help the fact that he's got some damaged town centre of his own. He might need to repair those soon. So looks like on the bottom side, Vindicator did eventually have to pull back, not before sniping one of the golds. But I think the Spaniard might have retaken it and then finished it off regardless. So looks like it was a little bit fruitless of an effort there, considering that gold mine that was over there has already perished. So in the meanwhile, over on the top side, Vindicator again going for another raid. He knows he needs to apply a bit of pressure. Caspar is only just starting to mass up some more forces again, only about 100 population. Vindicator maxed out, the Verhuver maxed out. The Spaniard only on about 150 population, so right now Vindicator looking to see what damage he can actually do to the left team. The Spaniard actually having to rally off this hunt preemptively, losing a couple of units, a couple of villages on the berries there. So nice mixed cavalry force here for Vindicator coming around now. They're going to notice that there's the walls though, and they're going to get intercepted by the horsemen. So, oh no, the horsemen actually run straight past them. Meanwhile, over on the bottom side, Vindicator's at it again. He wants to try and take on the walls on the southern side, but Verhuver really has this big force here, and he's sort of forced Caspar to have to try and have an answer for this, while Vindicator runs around the map with his cavalry, and big force of Prodromos just catch all of them out. I mean, big force of... Oh, it's a mixed cavalry force as well, but Not before Casper comes in to help clean up as well, so bit of a dicey situation for the players. So Verhuver's going to lose a fair bit of cavalry here, but he's got age 4. Vindicator's also got age 4, but doesn't have his 4th town centre down just yet. So Verhuver actually has a big population lead, and the Spaniard actually catching out all the cavalry for Vindicator, who are having to back off on this bottom side. So Vindicator's actually rallying everything back right now. Casper also rallying everything back to try and prevent the ram from dealing some serious damage, because his houses are going to fall here. So he's actually got a whole bunch of sappers queued up, which is not quite sure why that is. He's trying to defend with anything he's got. Oh, it's just a mistake. He's just supposed to get raw guard. But this big force of Verhuvers is just chopping straight through Casper's base at the moment. And on the bottom side, it looks like Spaniard's really pushing into Vindicator. Vindicator's going to get forced off that gold, and it's really going to harm his economy, because I think that's the only gold he's on now. Yeah, so Vindicator is forced off his only gold at this stage of the game, which is really going to shut him down. Verhuver in the meanwhile is chopping down all his caravans. Vindicator having to come in, surround with everything he's got. He's got his cavalry here really well positioned around all the Gastrophedes, who are a really nice unit, but once they're in range of other units, especially things like other range, they're not that effective anymore. But he does have a couple of ballista. He does have a ballista here, looking to deal some damage to the ranged units. It's actually micro. Oh, did he micro those or? Anyway, so it looks like Verhuver again, relentless in his attacks. Casper scrambling to hold on again. Vindicator, I'm not quite sure if he does have cavalry elsewhere on the field. He's been forced off that gold mine, so things are starting to get really dire for the right side team. Vindicator has no gold income. Casper only gathering off 1 gold mine at this stage. They're starting to really get low on wood too, I think. They're just really backed into the corner now. Verhuver and Spaniard have just applied such wonderful pressure this game. Spaniard now moving out to try and apply pressure along with his teammate. So Verhuver is going to have to back off a little bit, I think, but not without some huge help from his teammate. Going to be instrumental, and now he's really picking off a lot of Caspar's income. So the wood income from Caspar is going to be shut down a little bit, and the gold income of Vindicator has just been tattered completely by the Spaniard, who's coming in from the southern side as well. So he wants to try and start the production facilities that are going in, and once he does, he'll be able to get access to all the wood lines. So really wonderful play by the left side here. The right side team scrambling with everything they've got to try and maintain their position in the game right now. So Caspar's forces, he's got Raw Guard and Bowman, but they're not enough, and he needs to bring them back within the town centre range, because he's just only buying a little bit of space for him, and he's just losing all of his units as a compensation. So up the middle here, most of Spaniard's forces have been cleaned up by Vindicator again, but on the southern side, he's going to lose a whole bunch of production, and he's been forced off the gold mine. Spaniard's already started mining the gold mine. Wants to make sure that there's nothing Team UR can get out of their side of the map. So there is stables falling. The guard tower is going to fall again. He's going to be able to push up straight onto this wood here, which is the main wood source for the right side of the map right now. And meanwhile, up in Casper's side of the base, there's Gastrophedes everywhere. There's a whole bunch of Prodromos as well, destroying all the gardens. So Casper's economy is really going to start taking a tumble along with Vindicator's now. So both of them just sort of in free fall at the moment. All of the caravans falling. GG has been called by Casper. I think he's just really staying in just out of respect to his teammate and his opponents. So it's pretty much done for, I think. Vindicator is going to clean up all the units of Spaniards on the bottom side of the map, but Casper is pretty much done for, and most of the caravans of Vindicators are falling now as well. He has very little gold. He's only surviving by his other resource income by now, I think. So GG, I think, has been the call from both players. Vindicator actually resigns, and that's it, guys. What a game. So the left side, wonderful pressure from the Spaniard, wonderful macro from Verhuver. And from there, they just really locked in Casper and Vindicator. There seems to be a really smart tactic to do, is take this middle dock first rather than take your own dock, because your opponent is sort of on the back foot if he responds, because by the time he gets his dock, if you just age to get out the warship, you get it out, you deny the dock, you get the middle, you get your own dock, your own water, you can even go for his, rah. So really effective play, really effective in 2v2 as well, because you and a more aggressive opponent can really put an enemy on the back foot, maybe even both of them on the back foot, and from there look at just securing the game. So just wonderful play from everyone today. GG guys. What a game to finish up the day with. I think I might go to bed now, but that was certainly worth it, staying up for that. A lot of text taken there for Verhuver. GG, well played guys.